comfortable seated position. We'll just do a few seated poses, and then we'll come down onto our back in the supine position. And just a little reminder, you even if you think you won't need it, it's nice to try getting just a little bit of height underneath your hips. You just have a little more room to work. And for most people, it's a little more comfortable unless you've been sitting on the floor for a long time and your body's used to that. And you always want to start your yoga practice from a position of comfort, because if you start from a position of being uncomfortable, that's just going to build tension in your body as the practice continues. So sitting up nice and tall, feeling the ears over the shoulders, shoulders over the hips, dropping into your breath, inhaling and exhaling through the nose, allowing the mind to follow the breath so that you think, I breathe in, I breathe out. I breathe in, I breathe out. And then bringing your hands to Anjali Mudra at the heart center. And as you inhale, sweep your arms forward and up. And exhale back to the heart center. Go 2 more times. Inhale. And exhale. And once more, inhale and exhale. Floating the arms down to the side, lengthening the spine. And then go ahead and inhale, bringing your right arm up. And exhale down. And then the left arm up overhead. And exhale down. Keep going. Inhale. And exhale. And then you can begin to hinge over, lengthening through the side bodies. And just remember, everybody will look a little bit different in your yoga practice, just depending on where your body is in any given stretch. And the most important thing is how it feels, not how it looks. Flowing one more time. Right arm, and one more time, left arm. And then we're just going to float this right arm up and stay here. And just breathe into this. You're just allowing the prolonged stretch into the tissue to cause it to release and relax a little bit. And then coming back up and bringing the left arm up and over, and stay here and breathe. And then inhaling back up, sitting up nice and tall here. And we'll just work into the head and neck just a little bit. So go ahead and drop your chin down towards the collarbone, and then roll the right ear over towards the right shoulder. And then bringing the chin across the collarbone, left ear to left shoulder. And just keep going like this from side to side. Really take your time stretching out the muscles in the neck. Sometimes there's a little popping and clicking. As long as there's no pain, that's not going to hurt a thing. And then the next time the chin comes to the center, just stay here. Lift the ears over the shoulders and just roll your shoulders forward and up and back and down. Doing that a few times, forward and up, back and down, and one more time, forward and up, and back and down. And now we're going to move into a little cat-cow. So you want to draw the navel towards the spine. You want to have this sense of scooping up and over, like a wave curling up and over as you come into the cat. And then press the sits bones, lengthen the spine, open the heart center coming into the cow. So even though you're curling forward here, it's really not a sense of compression. It's a lifting in like a gentle hug, and then a release, and then a reverse, this little back bend here. Keep going like this. And the head follows the curve of the thoracic and cervical spine. So you don't want to crimp, you don't want to just collapse back. You want to have that sense of lifting up, looking up as you come into the cow. So there's some tensegrity or tension with integrity in your poses. So tensegrity is actually an architectural term that has to do with distributing the workload over the structure so that each part of the structure is able to support. So you can think about a geodesic dome or an archway. Those are structures built with tensegrity. Now, the next time you come to a neutral spine, stay here and lengthen. And we're just going to move in this little holographic wave here. So in your holographic wave, to start it, you want to contract the root lock or the muscles of the pelvic floor and the pit of the belly. And then just let this momentum travel through the body in three-dimensional asymmetric ways. Try to not let the brain get involved because the brain will move you in repetitive and symmetrical ways. Let the body be boss. We're just trying to get into the fascia or the connective tissue here. And then go ahead and sit up nice and tall again. Feel your ears over your shoulders. And bring your arms down. And just bring this right arm across as you inhale and down as you exhale here. And then the left arm, inhale and exhale. So just working into the shoulder joint where the arm meets the torso. And also working into the shoulder blades on the upper back, which is a place, once again, where we tend to build tension unintentionally as we're working at a computer or bending over any kind of work. Inhale and exhale. Inhale, exhale. One more time, each arm. And now we're going to make our way slowly, mindfully onto the back with the knees bent and the feet flat on the mat or flat on the floor. So coming down like this and just sort of wiggle and move around on your mat and get comfortable, and then release the arms down to the side here and just take a few breaths. So slow, deep breaths, inhaling belly, ribs, and collarbone, and then exhaling collarbone, ribs, and belly, taking as much time as you need to make each breath slow and smooth and rhythmic and complete. And this will help you feel relaxed. And now we're going to bring our arms up and over with the inhale. So both arms up overhead, reaching towards the wall behind you. And then exhaling back down to the floor. And inhale up and over. And exhaling back down to the floor. So notice how the belly muscles gently engage here. It ripples almost all the way up to the bottom of the sternum right here. And you may feel it a little bit differently, but it's a really subtle sort of an engagement to protect the low back, actually, to keep the pelvis from tipping, to keep the sacrum flat on the mat. And then bring the hands back down, and again, just release here and breathe. And then bring your right knee into the chest, right hand on top of the kneecap, and we're going to make big circles. So one way yoga is really different from a lot of other exercise programs is that in yoga, it's as important to relax as it is to work hard. And part of that is you want to work only the muscles that are required for the pose. And then another part of that is when you have a few breaths in between to relax, to teach yourself to fully relax. And then reverse these hip circles, going back the other way. And then hug this knee into the chest, and then lace your fingers under the thigh here and just straighten and bend the knee. So you won't be able to straighten it all the way, probably. You might, but that really doesn't matter. What matters is you feel the stretch in the back of the thigh here. And so if you lowered your thigh so it was further away from the chest, you could get the leg straighter, but that's not what we're stretching right now. We want to hug that thigh in and stretch in this way where it's going all the way into the glutes. And then go ahead and hug the top of the shin again, flex both feet, straighten the left leg down along the mat. And just stay here. And again, see if you can find that place of deep relaxation. Inhaling and exhaling here. So even as you're holding tension in the muscles that you want to engage, everything else is relaxed. And then lower the right foot, bring the left knee into the chest. And we're going to make big hip circles with that. I got to put this cap somewhere. I never think about it until we're in it. Okay, so making these big hip circles and then relaxing, going back the other way. And this is just really good for the hip joint. Any joint rotations is really good for us. And then bring that to a close and just hug that left knee into the chest. And then lace the fingers underneath the left thigh and just straighten and bend the left leg. And then hugging that left knee close, close, close to the chest, flexing both feet, straightening the right leg, reaching through the heel. And breathing here, slow, deep breaths. And then bend the right knee into the chest and flex both feet here. Press them up to the ceiling. This is called Supta Dandasana, or lying down staff pose. And for this first one, I just like to reach through the backs of the legs and leave my feet relaxed. If you want to strongly flex the feet, you can. That's a little more intense. And if you want to point the toes and see how that feels, you can do that. And then bring your arms out to a T, bend the knees into the chest, and we're going to do a twisting flow. So bring your right knee over to the right side under the right elbow. Stack the left knee on top. You're rolling onto the right hip. The spine is long, and you're lengthening and then trying to release this left shoulder onto the yoga mat. And then to move to the other side, lift the left knee up, keep it bent, and then come onto your back. The right knee will come up, roll onto the left side, lower the left knee, lower the right, and here you are in the twist with your knees pointing to the left. Spine is long. If this right shoulder is way up off the floor like this, because that happens to be where you are in your twist, just lift this right arm and lower it a little bit so you're not pulling into the joint, into that shoulder joint. And we're just going to go side to side. So bringing the right leg up, rolling onto the back, lowering the right, stacking the left on top. And then bringing the left knee up, coming onto your back, rolling onto the left side, stacking the right on top. So you can do this at your own pace. But in the type of yoga that I teach and that I like to practice, the slower the better in most cases. Because slowing down gives you an opportunity to notice how it feels to be in your body. So much of our daily lives are spent ignoring signals from the body about what we need to do to be healthier. And that can be everything from ignoring and delaying going to the bathroom, ignoring and delaying when you're hungry and need to eat, and ignoring and or delaying when you're tired and you need to rest. So in the yoga practice, we want to get reacquainted with those signals that our body gives us, and then learn to slowly integrate those signals into our lives in a positive way, coming back over to the right side. Just stay here and breathe, releasing into this twist. You can roll your palms up towards the ceiling and just breathe here. And we're going to do a sliding into the twist. So float this left arm up and over. Come onto your right side. You have to lift the head up a little bit and bring the palms of the hands together. Exhale, slide the left hand across the right forearm, across the collarbone. Touch this left shoulder with the left hand and then reach out and then release into the twist and breathe. So again, the relaxing is part of the practice. On your next inhale, the left arm comes up and over. You stack the shoulders and hips, the palms of the hands come together, and as you exhale, slide the left hand across the right arm, across the collarbone, releasing into the twist, dropping into the breath, and noticing how that feels. And one more time, inhaling up and over, stacking shoulders and hips, palms of the hands together. Exhale as you slide open into the twist and just release and breathe here. And then roll the palms down towards the mat and bring your left knee up and come towards your back, and then bring the right knee up, flex the feet, press them up to the ceiling in Supta Dandasana. Again, stretching all through the backs of the legs here, and the feet can just stay relaxed, or if you want to point or flex them, you may. And then bend the knees and bring the left knee and then the right knee over. And we're going to do that twisting flow to this side. So bring your right arm up and over. Come onto your left side, palms together. Exhale, slide the right hand across the left, across the collarbone. Open into the twist and release here. And again, inhale the right arm up and over, stacking shoulders and hips. Exhale as you slide the right hand across the left arm, opening into the twist and breathing here. And one more time, inhale this right arm up and over. Exhale as you slide open into the twist and breathe here. And then lifting the right knee, then the left, flexing the feet, pressing them up to the ceiling, reaching through the heels. And then bend your knees, lower one foot and then the other. So you may need to scoot up towards the top of your mat because that twisting flow tends to pull you down towards the base. And with your knees bent and your hands down by the side, we're going to do opposing arm and leg flow. So bring the left knee into the chest, flex the foot, press it up to the ceiling as the right arm comes up and over, and then bend the left knee, float the left foot and right arm back down to the mat, and then right knee comes in, left arm up and over, reaching here, and then bend the right knee, float the right foot, left hand down to the mat, and then left leg, right arm, and bend and lower. The breath is the knee comes in and straightens and on the inhale, and the knee bends and lowers on the exhale. But if you can't get the breath with it, don't worry about it. The most important thing is just to let the breath flow and to not hold it. So the smooth, fluid motion opposing arms and legs. And so when you first start doing this practice, really you're just focusing on getting this cross the body arm and leg thing going. And as the pose becomes more familiar, then you can notice like what's going on in the core of the body. So the muscles of the pelvic floor and the muscles of the lower abdomen, and then even some of the muscles up higher in the belly, and how the core strength works to strengthen the limbs or the peripheral skeleton. Okay, so the next time this right leg, left arm come up, stay here and reach. And this time, flex the foot, reach through the heel. You'll feel an intensity in the stretch. And then bring the tips of the fingers up towards the ceiling and point the fingertips down towards the floor and point the toes towards the ceiling. And then we're just going to point and flex the ankle and the wrist. So the feet, it's important to stretch out for balance, and the hands are important to stretch out for functional mobility throughout the lifespan. And then flex and reach here, and then big circles with the wrist and the ankle. Don't think too much about who's doing what, just do it. And then reverse the circles going back the other way. So I can never figure out if they're going in opposing or unison directions. I can never figure that out. And then flex and reach. And then bend the knee into the chest, lower the right foot, left arm, and just be still. Relax deeply into the earth and just notice if one side feels a little bit different than the other. It may or may not. Or you might feel the energy moving diagonally across the body, or you may not. Bring the left knee in and the right arm up and over. Flex the foot and reach and breathe. And then bring the right arm up so the tips of the fingers are towards the ceiling, and then point the fingertips down, point the toes towards the ceiling, and then begin this flex and point, both the fingers and the toes. So, these floor practices are so relaxing. And they feel so good that sometimes, there's a sense that it's not as beneficial as something that's more unpleasant. Go ahead and flex and reach, and then make these circles. But the reality is that these really do strengthen the core. They're healthy, healthy practices. And then you can reverse, going back the other way. And that a yoga practice, really, it should feel good while you're doing it. It is not like having a personal trainer who's, telling you to do more burpees or something. Go ahead and flex and reach. And then bend the left knee into the chest and lower. And again, just be still and breathe. Because learning to relax is part of stress reduction, and stress reduction is good for our cardiovascular health, just like aerobic exercise is good for cardiovascular. Now, bring your hands down to your side, and we're going to do some bridge flow poses. So in these bridge poses, how high you get up is not that important. What we want to do is lift and lower the hips smoothly and fluidly. So with your hands to your side, you can engage the root lock. So lifting the muscles of the pelvic floor up towards the diaphragm and drawing the navel in, and then press into the feet and lift, and then lower. Now, when you're doing this, you want to look straight at the ceiling, not at your screen. So if you need to watch a time or two, and then join in using my voice to guide you. And again, engage the root, lock the belly, press into the feet and lift and lower and lift and lower. One more time, lift, and when you lower, just come back to the earth. And again, take a few breaths here. And now we're going to lift and hold and lower, and we'll do that 3 times. So remember, you can always come down earlier if you'd like. So engage the root, lock the pit of the belly, press into the feet. Now, if you might want to press a little further, pressing the shoulders, tops of the shoulders into the mat, and you might want to lift and tuck the chin, lengthening the back of the neck, placing the occiput on the mat, or that little lump on the back of the head. Make sure your knees are coming straight forward from the tops of the iliac crest. You don't want to flail them out to the side. And then exhale, release back down. So releasing the shoulders, coming all the way down to the mat. Once you land here, really release, 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 dropping into the breath. And when you take a few extra breaths to relax, notice where you're holding tension and see if you can just lay here and let it go by bringing your attention to it. And then again, engage the root, lock the pit of the belly, the chin is tucked, press into the feet, lift straight up, press a little further. You might have to draw the chin down towards the chest. And you're breathing here. You can press the shoulders into the mat to open the heart center a little bit. And when you're ready, go ahead and release slowly. And then breathe, 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 relax, relax, relax. Notice where you're holding tension. And we'll do that one more time. Engage the root lock, the pit of the belly, press into the feet, lift. Chin is tucked. You might feel a stretch along the hip flexors right here on the fronts of the legs. Wherever you feel the stretch, it's okay as long as it's not causing pain. And then exhale, coming back down, and again releasing and relaxing. Now bring both knees into the chest and bring the palms of the hands on top of the kneecaps. And as you exhale, draw the navel towards the spine and hug the knee in. And as you inhale, let the knees float out. And again, exhale, hugging the knees in, and inhale as the knees come forward. This little flow is called Apanasana in Sanskrit. And this is one of the best things you can do if you have a tendency towards low back pain. Doing this little exercise where you're engaging the muscles on the front body here and releasing on the back can be really helpful. Now let the knees come forward and then begin making big hip circles. So this time both knees are going the same direction. And the low back can rock and roll a little bit on the mat if that feels good to you. If it doesn't, you can hold it. You can hold it more stable by drawing the navel in, and that will stabilize the sacrum into the mat. Go ahead and reverse, going back the other way. And you can kind of play around with that, like just let the low back rock and roll, and then draw the navel in and make the circles a little smaller and stabilize that low back. And then go ahead and release one leg and then the other. And bring your arms out to the side and heel toe the feet out so that the inside edge of your foot is on the outside edge of the mat. And we're going to do a little flow called windshield wipers. So you're going to take your right knee and internally rotate the right knee so it's pointing to the left, and then bring the left knee down to the left, and you'll be on your left hip. This right hip is lifting off the mat. So you've got a little twist and a little hip rotation in the legs. And then lift the right knee, lift the left coming onto your back, and lower the left knee. You'll come onto your right hip, and then lower the right knee coming into this little twist and the rotation of the legs here. And then lifting the left, lifting the right, lowering the right and lowering the left, lifting the right, lifting the left, lowering the left and lowering the right. Doing that just a few more times. Really take your time and try to move the legs independently of each other. So not really in unison, sort of in concert with each other, but not exactly in unison, if that makes sense. So the next time both knees are over to the right side, we're just going to stay here and breathe, relaxing into the pose. And then lifting the left and then the right and bringing both knees over to the left. And again, just breathing here. And then bringing both knees up, heel heel toe the feet in and bring the knees into the chest. Flex the feet, press them up to the ceiling, and then bring the feet out and bend your knees and bring the knees down like so that they're around your torso underneath your armpits. And you can hold on to the thighs like this. Or if you want to come into a happy baby, you can slide your hands up and wrap them around the insteps of the feet. Pull the knees around the torso and breathe here. And then release the feet, coming back to Supta Dandasana. And we'll do that again. So opening the knees out to the side, bending the knees here. And again, you can stay right here. If you want to do more, you can slide your hands up and press the knees towards the floor, taking a few deep breaths. So this happy baby, whether you're doing it here or you're doing it here, is a great pose to help relax those muscles of the pelvic floor or the root block, which we spend a lot of time talking about engaging, but we don't really talk about how to stretch them out and release them, which is just as important. So go ahead and bring the knees, bring the feet back to Supta Dandasana, bend the knees and lower one foot and then the other. And we're going to come into Shavasana. So straightening one leg and then the other, rolling the palms of the hands up towards the ceiling and releasing. We'll be here for anywhere from 5 to 7 minutes. If you'd like to put a bolster or a blanket underneath your thighs, that can be really comfortable to help with low back pain. Just be here in silence.